A lot of people have their problems with Wizards of the Coast. Okay, a lot of people have their problems with Wizards of the Coast. I played Magic way back when. I am not a Magic guy like now. I'm not going to pretend like I was a Magic guy now. You know what I'm saying? But I know people who are. You know, obviously Leon Word to Paradise is a huge Magic fan. At least he was anyway. Um, but apparently they have been going down the gutter for a while. Now I've done videos on Wizards of the Coast for the last like year now because there was a long moment when they were literally just doing woke shit after woke shit after woke shit after woke shit. I mean, they were just going nonstop. And it really came to prominence with their Lord of the Rings set, right? So their Lord of the Rings set, for those of you who don't know, Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle Earth, they race swapped Aragorn and a couple of other characters, I believe, too. But they race swapped Aragorn, and that was the biggest one. Okay, that was the biggest one that made people roast him into oblivion. And I mean, look at it. Just look at it. And then they did the typical. They did the Warhammer excuse, right? So they race swapped Aragorn, and then they gaslighted everybody, and they said, "Oh, well, it was never specifically stated in the text that Aragorn was white. So this is our version of him," or some shit like that. And I'm like, really? Like this is what we're going with now. So that's what they always try to do. They always try to gaslight you with those statements. Like, oh yeah, it was never specifically stated he was white. Where does it say that? Well, I don't know. When they say his skin is fair, maybe, but I guess maybe you don't understand that language from that time period. Who knows? Fair skin definitely doesn't mean burnt. You know what I'm saying? Fair skin definitely doesn't mean burnt, but I mean, hey, they described him as fair skinned with black hair. I guess that meant black with nappy hair. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, you know, this is coming from someone who actually read the works, and you know, I'm arguing with people who don't fucking like. They don't give a shit. They never read the works. They just got told, hey, we need to make this character black. Let's add these couple features here and there, and let's make it a thing. So here we are, right? Black Aragorn, who magically, still with a white woman, because you got to make sure it's interracial. You got to make sure it's interracial. That's another thing they do, right? That's another thing they do. Not only do they race swap characters, but when they race swap characters, their love interests are almost always white, right? To some extent. Usually it's black females with white men, because that's really what black women want. They really want white men, as much as they say they don't. I mean, it's just the truth. In every single movie, they almost seem to always be dating a white man. Look at Little Mermaid, for example. They made sure to keep the prince white, and they made Little Mermaid black. In this case, they made Aragorn black because he was the more prominent character, and his love interest is obviously white. So they didn't make her black. I guess they can't have black elves, or can they? You know. So Cynthia Williams is the arbiter of the issues over at Wizards of the Coast. Okay, she's the one that was behind a lot of the changes that were made. She was only the CEO for 2 years, and in those 2 years, she did a lot. Okay, not only did they do the terrible Lord of the Rings adaptation, right? But they also tried to do that game license change. Remember that? Do you guys remember when they tried to change the game license to make it beneficial for them, and also to be able to control what they considered to be hate speech? Where they tried to say, oh, well, we have the right to revoke anyone's license who is deemed to be partaking in racism, misogyny, sex, whatever. Like they tried to do that as well. So not only did they race swap Aragorn and made that a thing, but they tried to control who had a license based off whether or not they were essentially progressive or not. You know? So she stepped down of her own accord after 2 years. After 2 years, she's gone, right? It says, in the wake of the Games Workshop controversy centering around Warhammer utilizing the Kathleen Kennedy formula of put a chick in it and make it lame and gay, Wizards of the Coast once again remains a tabletop gaming industry that they are still all-time undisputed kings of the landfill with an abrupt staff change. This time being the outgoing president of Wizards of the Coast, Cynthia Williams. Now, here's the best part about Cynthia Williams, okay? Cynthia Williams was a plant, right? In the sense that she was promoted and hired for that job by the CEO of the parent company, Hasbro, who goes by the beautifully perfect name, Chris Cox, right? Chris Cox hired and installed Cynthia Williams into the position, and Cynthia Williams had zero experience with either brand. Zero. Zilch. None. Fuck all. She didn't play Magic. She didn't do anything. D&D, nothing. She didn't even fucking know about them, probably, to be honest with you. So he installed a CEO for a company like Wizards of the Coast who never once played the game, never even knew what it was, and is obviously not someone who is exactly filled with much passion when it comes to the product, right? Then it makes you wonder, oh, that's interesting, why there is so much DEI changes and why the focus was all about DEI. Well, it's because the person who was in charge of it didn't care about the product. Right off the bat. It says Cynthia Williams has been president of the often disgraced Wizards of the Coast for the last 2 years, and it has been one of the most painful tenures we've seen at any mainstream gaming company, as Cynthia Williams is a prime example of the Dunning-Kruger effect that has plagued the mainstream in the last decade. You would think if you were running a game company, you would easily pick the best person for the job, someone who knows the lore of Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons front to back, right? Well, in this case, Chris Cox, the CEO of Wizards of the Coast parent company, Hasbro, didn't think so and hired Cynthia Williams, even though she has absolutely zero experience playing either of those games. There you go. That's it. That's it. So it's not too shocking, right? It's not too shocking that this person didn't last very long. It's not too shocking this person didn't last very long, right? So, but Leon, earlier in the stream, Leon said his fear is that she's going to be replaced with somebody worse. And I can almost guarantee that's going to be a thing. I can guarantee that's going to be a thing. If you hired someone for your company that had zero experience in the products that you're hiring them for at all, then you obviously aren't a very good hirer, or you have other motives. There's other motives to why, you hired her. So chances are you're going to replace her with someone who's just as bad, if not worse. I can pretty much, at this point, I can pretty much guarantee it. I can pretty much guarantee it. So if you still play Magic the Gathering, which is fine. If you still play it, I don't really care. If you still play Magic the Gathering, just realize if you thought it was bad before, it's probably going to get much worse very soon. It's going to get much worse very, very soon. Very soon. And it's a shame. It's a shame because Magic is a, I would say it was a great pastime. Like I said, I haven't dabbled in it in many years, but man, I still remember playing that shit in high school at fucking at lunch. We used to have a group. We were the fucking nerds. We would play Magic the Gathering. We were that nerdy. But not anymore. Not anymore. It's kind of sad, man. It's kind of sad.